Greetings, I'm Brian from NewTek Cleaning Systems, and we're here to talk about Serum products. We've had just a ton of people coming in with questions and needing information on these products, and as a distributor of Serum, we thought it'd be great to sit down with Frank from Serum.
Yeah.
And Frank, if you could tell us about Serum products and what's all the excitement about?
Well, listen, I appreciate you having me. You and I go back a long time, so it's great to have this business relationship working so well. Well, let me tell you, Serum products, Serum system is designed to help the contractor be better at what they do. Before I get into some of that, I always like to talk about safety. We are totally compliant with S520 guidelines, and we suggest that all of our contractors should be too. And as a matter of fact, we're the only company that I'm aware of that actually requires people to sit down and go through a safety information class before they can actually buy our Serum 1000. It's the only product we require it on, but we feel it's that important. Serum system is a combination of a couple of different products for mold removal, and that's what we'll probably focus on today. Serum 1000, which is a 20% formulated hydrogen peroxide cleaner. We don't kill anything. We help facilitate the removal of the mold out of the space, whether it's dead or alive, who cares? S520 said feel free to spray any EPA registered product after our cleaning, that's fine, but we are the cleaning process. Coupled with our Serum Accelerator, we're actually able to go after stain removal in the same step, followed up by Serum 2000, which is a protectant product. So that's the system, and then of course, most recently, as you've seen, we have the Eliminator spray system, which where we were a little inconvenient to use in the past, we're a lot more convenient to use now.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the things that we as a supplier love about Serum Systems is when you had come to me originally and said, hey, we're setting up a national training program. You know, NewTek's real big on education.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, you know, I know you have a gentleman who goes all over the country and teaches these free courses, not only on how to be safe, suit up, you know, PPE, but also how to speak intelligently about it so it helps with their sales. You know, the sales of their mold jobs and their fire cleanup projects.
Absolutely. We teach actually what we call oxidation chemistry. And the idea here is to clean up any myths that exist with hydrogen peroxide. You know, everybody's an expert after they've read the front cover of a tech sheet, but in fact there's a little more to it. And so we discuss how hydrogen peroxide works on a variety of organic materials to help make their job easier. And the reason we're so good at what we do is because we do focus on, you know, kind of the why we're better. When you know why we're better, you'll really like us a lot, because the idea is to drive, again, cost out of those jobs so you can be more profitable.
Right. Now, you had mentioned the new Serum Accelerator, which is here behind us. One of the questions we just get nonstop is about bleach, okay? Bleach is a great stain removal product. However, as an educator and a supplier, we struggle with bleach because we know sodium hypochlorite sodium being salt. We don't like leaving residue behind, salt residues, because we all know that salt, as it dries and it leaves a residue, it's a natural absorbent of future moisture, humidity. You know, we're in Michigan, so we have a lot of humid days and dry days and humid days. So we almost, you know, we call it mold farming. We almost become a mold farmer in some sense.
Well,
so, you know, talk about that for a minute. Your product, is there any bleach in Serum at all?
no, not at all. You know, bleach is a great product. I mean, there's no question. You know, Clorox is a pretty big company, but it's a great disinfection product. And when used in an additive for tile and grout and bathroom cleaning and hard surface cleaning, it's marvelous. But when you get into porous materials, you know, the name of the game when you're removing mold is to get it at the root. And bleach doesn't penetrate. And quite frankly, you're right about that salt residue. You just ask the guys in the pallet industry where they sit up there and clean the sides of these pallets, and 3 days in a truck, and they've got a mold farm on those pallets again when they get to their destination. So it actually helps regrow mold in a lot of cases, particularly at high humidity. But peroxide, 20% formulated hydrogen peroxide in an acid state such as Serum 1000, we only have 0.5% of a surfactant. And with the pH change from normally peroxide's a pH of 6.5 to 7, down to 3.4, we make it very, very active. And then when you add this surfactant, it makes peroxide wetter, and it makes it want to penetrate. And the best example I can give is weed and dandelions. You know, the old way you grabbed it from the top and you knew it was coming back because you didn't get the weed. Get down under it, pull the root out, it's gone. That's what Serum helps facilitate with Serum 1000. Add Accelerator to it, instantly we change the pH to 9.5. We also get a bleaching effect.
So we get rid of all the stains.
Stain
removal.
And
right.
liftings to facilitate removal all in one step.
Excellent, excellent. We mentioned the S500 standard. I know you guys subscribe to that very heavily, which is
Totally.
neat. Some of the companies, you know, they want to say, oh, you can just spray and go. Guys often want something, they can just spray, walk away, and they're done. And you guys actually subscribe to the S500, which includes containment, includes
Totally.
all the safety, all the negative air. Nothing changes in that protocol. This just becomes the cleaning system of removing that mold quickly.
Right.
And I know we were talking about dollars per square foot in cleaning, and as we got down to those numbers this morning, even myself as a consultant, I was just like, wow, we can, what were those numbers per square foot roughly?
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of jobs now, particularly with the Eliminator, and that's where you pick up, obviously, the savings, but we had a 25,000 square foot job that I used as kind of a benchmark. And what we factored in were actual labor costs, travel time, lunch, and product cost. So on this particular job, which by the way was done in about 4 hours, 18 cents a square foot
Was our net cost.
was the net cost for the contractor. Now, Xactimate, you know, pays at varying rates, and that's of course your least profitable alternative when you're dealing with insurance companies, but typically that's being covered less and less. Private pay or other means for remediation, people are getting 50 cents, 75 cents, $1 a foot and writing in Serum, even over on top of Xactimate, because we save so much time in labor. And again, you know, somebody says, well, I want to bill out that big job. Well, the point is, big numbers don't mean anything to you. It's profit.
Right.
That's where the money is made.
Yeah, we talked about production rate a lot.
Yeah.
And that labor and being super productive so that your margins increase.
Well, we have a lot of customers now. I mean, we've had the Eliminator spray system on the market now for about 6 months. And they're able to piggyback multiple jobs where they're spraying out crawl spaces or doing attics where they've got them pre-contained, pre-negative air, and they're ready to go. And then they follow, actually, with a HEPA crew, because after an hour of dry time, it's pretty well ready to be HEPA-vacked.
Right, that's awesome.
And so
that's so fast.
It's pretty slick.
And we're going to talk about efficiency and production rate via the new Eliminator sprayer, which is just an absolute home run. The thing's awesome.
Well, I got to put in a plug.
Yeah.
Bill Lyon,
yeah,
the founder of Serum,
yeah,
he gets it.
sharp guy. He's a sharp guy.
Bill Sharp.
One of the things one more thing I want to cover before we jump into the sprayer, which we're going to get to in just a second here, is I get a lot of questions. Brian, why can't I go to Sally's Beauty Supply and get, 20 peroxide right off the beauty store shelf or the pool store shelf? Explain to everybody how the difference is, because there's a substantial difference. People just don't understand peroxide.
Right.
Explain
Well,
that again.
the bottom line is there's a difference between percentage of hydrogen peroxide in a solution and volume. So to put it in perspective, for those that go to Sally's and buy Sally's 10 volume or pick the beauty store, anybody's 10 volume peroxide, that's just like the brown bottle of peroxide you get at the store. It is just basically 3% hydrogen peroxide. And I wouldn't suggest you gargle your teeth with it, but that's what it is. 20% is 6% hydrogen peroxide, or 20 volume is 6% hydrogen peroxide.
So when they're buying 20 volume, that doesn't mean 20%.
No.
It's actually around 6%.
It's 6%.
So it's not even close to the same as a Serum 1000, not even remotely close.
No, we're 20%.
Right. And then isn't there an issue with stability too? Like, Serum 1000 is a stabilized peroxide.
Correct. And we're the only company that's able to stabilize it in an acid state. What they buy from Sally's is generally 6.5 to 7 in the pH scale, and it is only good as long as it's in that bottle and not subjected to heat or cold or has anything introduced to it that organic that might cause it to go off. It's actually used to neutralize hair color.
Right.
So that's what those products are designed for.
Right.
30 volume is basically 9% peroxide, which puts you in the range of some of the spotters that are being made today.
Carpet cleaning spotters.
The carpet cleaning spotters. And then 40 volume is 12%. And again, they're just peroxide. There's nothing added to provide any
wetting agents
to
lifting,
help it, or stability agents.
Right, right.
So it's, and of course my big thing is I'm all about liability. And anybody that's working in this industry understands that as a sole proprietor or a small LLC, you know, gosh knows our insurance rates are high enough, and you're introducing people that are, or products that are not meant to be sold in our industry.
Right.
And subsequently, the liability chain changes substantially because they can't stand behind you if you happen to use it
To
incorrectly.
me, as someone who likes high production rates and likes to see labor costs down and profits up, and
Right.
it's what ties everything together, and it's just awesome. Could you tell us about
Oh,
it?
absolutely. Well, this is, you know, Bill Lyon designed this system, and it's specific to the Serum system. And actually, it makes us a system. We were not that convenient to use before, and some of you guys are probably chuckling that are seeing this, because dragging pails around and doing all kinds of things, it's not easy. Airless paint sprayers getting used up. So the system is designed to be transportable. It's on a custom-made dolly, weighs 86 pounds without the product, pulls 1.8 amps, so you're not getting in trouble at all.
That's incredible on the restoration jobs
Yeah.
when they're running air scrubbers and other, you know, pieces of equipment.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's just running the pump and the hour meter. The rest of it's all 24 volt. So even loaded up, you're still under 2 amps.
It's amazing.
So at any rate, the idea here is to mix at the perfect ratio Serum 1000 and Serum Accelerator. And that happens, just so you know, at 20 to 1. So you'll use 20 pails of Serum 1000 before you ever use 1 pail of Accelerator. And what that does is it draws in downstream the accelerator. The only part that is accelerated is in the hose, the solution hose, never touches the pump. And at 50 foot of hose, it takes about 14 seconds to fill it, but it allows you to get stain removal and the lifting of mold off the surface for HEPA vacuum removal in one step.
And no wasted product, which is awesome.
None. And that's been the challenge with everybody's two-part system.
Right.
Is that stain removal has always been a second part on top of removal, which in the past has always been scrubbing, scraping, sanding, all those various, you know, media blasting, which is very expensive. Those kinds of techniques, which work, don't get me wrong,
Right.
but again, we're trying to drive the cost out of it. So the system is remote control, and the purpose of that is we're controlling an uncontrollable reaction. We're accelerating 20% formulated hydrogen peroxide, and we're changing the pH from 3.4 to 9.5, like right now. And so we need some place for it to go. And so we don't block it with a traditional handheld trigger sprayer. We've got a check valve here that once it gets to 5 pounds, it'll release some air, because that's what you're generating in the hose.
It's oxygen.
But at any rate, no residues, less than 5% of a surfactant, no residues. By the way, the residue of the accelerator is a food-grade additive.
Wonderful.
So when it comes to doing environmental jobs, you know, for example, the Boston Marathon cleanup was Serum 1000. We get involved in a lot of work, meth type work, trauma type work, where
Blood, right, blood.
residues matter, and
Right.
people are concerned where this might be going. And we turn into water and oxygen at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's very safe. The system is designed to spray both Serum 1000, I'll show you with the light on. Oh, by the way, the remote works like this. I've just turned it on, and that shows you Serum 1000. The idea behind running Serum 1000 is when you get to smoke and odor jobs, we use a third pickup, which would be the white button, to spray our Serum SR, and then spray Serum 1000 after you've cleaned to go after smoke odor. Serum 1000 will go where the smoke odor went, so it's pretty neat. accelerating, if you'll see here, both lights light up. And that lets you know,
We're pulling both products
pulling
at one
both
time.
products, and you'll also know, because we're pretty smart, these are color-coded. So there's no mixing up on the job site.
Can't screw it up.
And of course, we're the only closed-loop system, so people don't ever come in contact with the product.
Ever, right, it's great.
I mean, that's the key. And to my knowledge, we're the only company that has done that. And of course, there's a third pickup that's designed to spray water and or SR or Serum 2000. And
Which
of
is
course,
the sealing product.
the sealing product, which is going to protect after you've cleaned.
Right.
That is also part of our 10-year warranty program.
Right,
So-
which, it's a 10-year warranty program, and that's an antimicrobial sealer, am I correct?
No, it is not.
It's a encapsulant sealer?
Basically, it is an encapsulant sealer, and let me tell you why we don't have an antimicrobial claim. There really isn't a good one for soft surface that we feel comfortable with. What we do is we use a siloxane technology in Serum 2000,
Okay.
and it creates a very hostile mountainous environment on the surface, but it allows the substrate to breathe.
That I like a lot, because
Yeah.
a lot of these encapsulant sealers don't allow breathing, and then if there's any future natural humidity, water, damage, it doesn't allow that building material to breathe and dry.
Well, you're like the kid with the finger in the dike. You know, you're always trying, mold's everywhere, and you're
Right.
always trying to keep it off, but it creates an environment which makes it very difficult to
For it
adhere.
to grow,
Yeah.
thus the 10-year warranty.
Correct,
Right.
correct, and we've never had a failure, and we do a lot of crawl spaces, a lot of attics.
That's great.
And we have hundreds and hundreds of them, and so it's our way of standing behind you on the job, but giving you something that you
One-
can see through.
Yeah, one quick thing on the sprayer before we end this is the internals of this sprayer. You showed it to us and our service techs earlier today. Everything in there, it's a custom-built pump that's made to handle this type of chemistry.
Correct.
No problem. Everything is Viton or stainless steel fittings,
Mhm.
so we're not worried about soft brass corrosion and things
Right.
like this.
Right.
I mean, it was extremely heavy duty. I was really impressed when we opened it up and
Yeah.
you actually explained the guts of this thing to us. So, you know, this is not like a airless sprayer, you know, a typical
Right.
paint sprayer,
Right.
which after so many uses, you know, you're throwing this $600 or $1,200 sprayer away.
Correct.
Or having to rebuild this thing. It's a big hassle. With this, it's really simple. And I like that, you know, it's simply, you can run water through it to rinse it quickly and you're
Yeah,
just
well,
done.
you bring up a good point. The clean out at the end of the day, just because I like to take care of my stuff,
Right.
is always keep a little, 5-gallon bucket with some water in it. And the idea there is that you can just fill the hose, get water in the pump, and when you're transporting it home, it's
There's no
clean.
spillage, there's no
Yeah,
nothing.
It's
Right.
clean.
It's clean.
And you don't have to worry about things dripping in the truck and that kind of thing. Because with hoses,
They drip.
they drip.
Right. That's right.
So I'd rather be dripping a little water than
Right.
anything else. So.
Well, Frank, I think this clears up a ton of the questions that we receive every single day, doing tech support here at New Tech, in our training classes, during mold courses. I think this is really going to help people a lot. And I hope as this technology that you guys have developed, which is awesome, continues, we can do maybe some follow-up videos on
Yeah,
some of the
love
other
to.
new
I mean,
technologies.
we're 10 years in, and
Yeah.
so we're standing the test.
If you guys have any questions at all, okay, New Tech Cleaning Systems, our toll-free number is 800-435-5868. Again, 800-435-5868. You can also visit us online at www.shopnewtech.com, and it's with an NU, shop, NUTECH.com. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.